know who the goddamn killer is.
The masters of suspense agree. Stephen King calls Frailty thought-provoking, edge-of-your-seat entertainment.
Those were demons. Why can't you see that?
The most disturbing horror picture I've seen since The Shining, raves Spider-Man director Sam Raimi. And James Cameron calls it electrifying. It'll keep you guessing until the last shot. Bill Paxton, Matthew McConaughey. Frailty.
Only demons should fear me. You're not a demon, are you?
Hey, welcome back to Almost Cult Classics, the podcast. My name is Joe Ramone, and I'm joined by my friend and co-host Ryan Lancello.
Howdy, folks.
Where today we are talking about 2001's Frailty. The second, there's two films Bill Paxton directed, right?
Debut.
This is his
debut. Yeah.
Directorial debut, followed by, what's the other movie? He did The Greatest Game Ever Played? Is that what it's called? Okay. But this is a movie...
I totally forgot about.
When you said we were doing this movie, I was like, wait, Bill Paxton directed? And then it looks like he did some shorts, stuff like that, too. Not much.
Excuse me, I'm drinking my coffee. He did some stuff I was surprised to see.
Such as?
Well, I don't know, man. This is like going way, way back. But you ever hear of Fish Heads, the song?
Yeah.
By Oh, you have? Of course you have.
Yeah.
It's Billy Mooney's like novelty band.
Yeah.
He directed the video for Fish Heads. And it played on SNL, like, there's no MTV yet. So, like, you could take your short films and music videos and shit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Semi-interesting.
That they would do that, yeah.
They had to fill the time. It's so funny. Everyone has these, like, very rose-colored glasses on SNL. And even me, like, on, like, the era I really like Phil Hartman and Chris Farley. There's so many duds.
Oh,
dude.
yeah, there's a lot of filler and just
My God,
shit that people don't remember that's just awful.
When we did that Ford Fairlane episode, I went back and watched, like, the whole episode that Dice hosted. And it's like I caught a couple other episodes from that era. And I'm just like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, these are not as good as I remember.
What was that one you sent me? And it was just like, look how angry this... Was it Rickles and...
Dude, that is hilarious.
Well, who else is it? It's Rickles, Piscopo? No, it's not Piscopo.
It's Piscopo.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is.
Belushi. It's the...
John?
Yeah.
Or no, Jim.
Jim. The lesser Belushi.
Son.
Who is just devoid of humor in that sketch. He's so unfunny.
Oh, my God.
And then it's like Rickles and Piscopo are like trying to one-up each other.
Yeah, Rickles is not pleased.
Yeah.
And Piscopo's breaking character. It was like the original Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, go look that up.
Oh, that is all. That is good
speaking
stuff.
of go watch, this is one case where I know a lot of our listeners haven't seen the movies we're talking about. Maybe they haven't seen them in a while. They just kind of, we're easy listening. We get a lot of comments. People listen to us on trips and car rides, so that's great. This is one movie I'm going to say, stop the podcast. If you haven't seen Frailty, go watch Frailty.
You beat me to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not listen to this if you haven't seen it.
It definitely rewards in repeat viewings.
Well, that's why I like the movie so much, I think, is that...
Because I had never seen it. I know you said you had seen this movie.
A few times, yeah. Twist movies have this problem of rewatchability. A lot of times, once you know the twist, you kind of, on a rewatch, you're like, who gives a shit? This, it becomes another movie entirely when you know the twist. Like, it doesn't take away from it at all. It actually makes it a deeper story almost.
So
you got the twist out of the way.
Yeah. So
and it's a hell of a twist.
In order to not only enjoy this episode, but enrich your life, go watch Frailty. I think it's on HBO Max. That's where I watched it. It's out there. It's probably easy to find. Go watch it and then come back and listen to this discussion because you'll be thankful because it's got some, like you said, there's a lot of twists in it that will be ruined in this podcast. And just go. It's a good movie. Just go watch it.
For real. Yeah, we both liked it.
But you, I shouldn't say adamant, but this is one you were just kind of like, let's do Frailty next, and I was just not left with a choice. Why were you drawn to this movie?
I think it's more I was drawn to Bill Paxton. And, we kind of done a few of these where, like, I think I was thinking of another Bill with Quick Change, where, he directed that. And obviously Paxton's got the other movie, but he only did two. And this one, I think, is really, from all accounts, Greatest Game Ever Played is a fine movie. It's good enough for, like, a Disney sports film or whatever, from that era. But
I confused that with that one with Will Smith, which was Bagger Vance.
Yeah. Some, same era of golf, kind of. But this one, it's such a unique, odd story. And I'm telling you, like, the twist is... It's a bold decision, story-wise, in my opinion.
Well, there's a couple twists, which, again, we're going to get to. It's layered with twists that made it almost a little confusing to me. And one of the twists was ruined because of what an actor is credited as in the movie. I was so confused that I had to, like, pull up IMDb and see, like, so that further ruined that twist. But
this is a great movie to go in ice cold.
Oh, yeah. I knew nothing about this other than that thumbnail. That spooky scary looking thumbnail with someone's face and there's the axe in the background, and that's because I had always seen it on HBO Max.
Okay, is it like the poster?
It's not the poster.
All right.
But I was just like, because I like to watch horror movies, so I always go on and just scroll through them, and they always classify this as a horror movie, which I guess it kind of is. It gets a lot of praise from people in the horror industry. Sam Raimi and Stephen King are speaking out about it, but yeah, I mean, I knew very little about it, and I'm glad because that kind of really helped my enjoyment of the movie.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because I think the first time you watch it, it is kind of a horror, and then the second time you watch it, like I said, it's a different movie. You know what's going on, so it's not as creeped out necessarily.
Well, this is how I kind of suspected where the twist was going to end up. It's when they kill that. Again, spoilers. They kill that fat guy at the grocery store.
Carl Reiner.
No.
He looks like Carl. He's Carl Reiner.
For a second, I stopped. I was like, "Wait, was it?"
Was
I'm thinking of Rob Reiner.
Bill. Yeah, what would have been preferable, probably. But
it was when he bends down to like help the kid look for the dog. He is creepy in a way. So I was like, "Oh well, let's see if we can help you out." So you kind of get like, I was like, "Oh," and not only that, like this movie philosophically really begs the question: like, is a character evil if what they believe they are doing is good?
Right.
And it's really interesting.
But it answers that question.
It does, yeah.
Like I said in the book, should I just say it?
Yeah, I mean, I really told people to go watch it. So if they're still listening to this, then it's on them.
Well, I wonder if it's, we're going through it, so we'll assume you guys have seen it by now. But what an insanely bold decision to make God real. God's real in this. And he is telling Bill Paxton's dad character, who's just dad in the film, doesn't have a name, to kill demons. Destroy demons, I should say. He doesn't kill anybody. He destroys demons. Well,
and also, like, look how many Exorcist movies there are. Like, you have to, a lot of when you're dealing with horror films, there is a supernatural element in a lot of them. But this movie, like you're saying, it doesn't come right out and say, there's not, like, weird, like, you don't see the father's dreams in a way. Like, you see a couple of his visions and things like that, but we're not,
at the very end. I shouldn't say that. You do see his visions.
You do see the angel in that one. And, there's stuff like that, but it's not, like, overly, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it doesn't, like, really force these images into your mind.
Well, it holds back, and it lets you think he could be crazy. But the movie really holds back a lot of that. So you're not getting it initially.
Yeah.
And it plays on the viewer's bias, too, where's God?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see
him? That's what I mean. Yeah, you never
What?
see a manifestation of him in the movie.
In your own life. Like, it's easy to believe God's not real, or real, whatever. I'm not trying to make a blanket statement here about whether or not you should believe in God, but we all come from this place where God's fairly unseen, and when someone starts babbling about God's telling them to destroy demons, you're not predisposed to believe them.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
And the movie really lays it out like, this guy's fucking crazy. He's off his fucking nut.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you again, as the movie starts, you're kind of like, well, this guy's crazy. He's ruining these kids' lives. You really have a negative opinion of him. And now I could see, like you're saying, like rewatching this movie, which I intend to, I'm sure there's a lot of like seeds planted that give hints to some...
He's heroic, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it shifts the entire perspective.
His whole death scene probably takes on an entirely...
It's terrible.
Yeah.
You're pissed. Because, he was destroying the demons.
He could have explained it in a little bit of a better way to get the kids on board. He is a little too, like... I don't know. He just doesn't do it in a way where it's like, oh, this could be reasonable. He's very like, I saw an angel, and an angel told me this, and we have to do it. And like when he puts the kid in the dungeon or whatever, like there's just a lot of stuff. Like he could have rationally explained this. Like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but he really jumps into like crazy town and is like,
well, you could.
Once again, everyone, we're joined by a special guest. My dog is here with us, and as always, is not pleased that the attention's not on him. So I apologize if you hear. But go on.
You're right. He could have explained it better, but I think if you consider it, it's so real to him. He doesn't feel the need to justify it. God is speaking to him,
right?
So I mean, yeah, like he gets this message from the ultimate authority, and as Father did with these two kids, he's their ultimate authority. So he's just passing it along almost. And obviously, like I said in the first run through, it's good that he doesn't say more than he needs to.
Yeah. Well, and it's, again, I think they were in a really tough place with this movie because I don't think they knew how to market it. They didn't want to spoil it in that way. Again, because for me, like, for a movie not to even be close to on my radar says a lot. Like, I have definitely like you, have a deep knowledge of film, and this was like when you suggested it, I was like, what? I don't even know what that is. Like,
right.
And so I think that was definitely an issue with this movie because it tanks. Like, it opens number 9, I believe, when it comes out, which is a shame because it gets really good reviews. One of the chief marketing components is the Stephen King quote, which Bill Paxton sends Stephen King an early copy of the movie, and I'm sure King is paid for putting his name on it.
I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
I wouldn't. With him, who knows?
It might just be like he was doing it a favor. Who knows? But King says, I've never seen a movie quite like Frailty. It's unique, thought-provoking, edge-of-the-seat entertainment. And that quote pretty much is on every theatrical poster, on the DVD releases, all that stuff. Yeah, so Stephen King, Sam Raimi came in and talked about, I think James Cameron was promoting it. So a lot of good I just don't think it's hard to market this movie. You don't want to spoil it.
I remember what hooked me wanting to see it when it first came out I think I was reading a review and it was just like, Bill Paxton, father of these 2 kids, they live a nice little life in small town Texas. And then one night he sees a vision of an angel and a bowling trophy. And I was like, ooh, like what? The fuck? Like, what is that?
Yeah, did you see this in the theater? Or
No, I saw it after the fact, I think. I think it came and went. I don't think I got a chance.
Would have been like a catch it on cable movie for you?
I might have rented it.
Okay.
I don't quite remember.
I could see you in 2001 going into Blockbuster and seeing this and being like, "Ooh, this looks." Because you've always been a Bill Paxton fan.
I love Bill Paxton. Yeah, absolutely.
And on our Patreon show after this, patreon.com/almostcultclassics, we're going to talk about another movie he was in, which almost felt like it could have been a movie we did for this show, like because there's so much to talk about with it. But The Dark Backward.
Yeah.
And then I also checked out.
What an inverse character he plays.
And that's kind of like his whole career, I feel like, is playing different characters. Like, he's really reliable, but he played like the yokel, or he could play like the leading man, the suave guy. Like, and
yet he still has that weird, I don't know if it's voice or what, but he's like, it's Bill Paxton.
I was thinking about like who today is doing the type of work that he was doing, and the only one I can think of is like Patrick Wilson. I get kind of shades of him with Patrick Wilson, but
I can understand that.
They're just like in terms of being a reliable character actor that could lead a film or play like a supporting role, but always good, always give a great performance. And it's a shame that for me, I didn't really appreciate this guy until he was gone, because like we're going to talk about some of his filmography before we get into the plot of the movie. But there's just so much he did, and he's just great in everything he's in.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing. According to him, at least, that really like got him started to get noticed was Weird Science, which I fucking love.
Weird Science is good.
Right now, the theme song is playing in my head. Like I can never get enough of it. But he's Chet, and Chet's awesome in that movie. It's great. And you're a big John Hughes fan. I always found it weird when John Hughes would do those like really strange movies, like Weird Science.
Yeah, I mean that was before he kind of just got pigeonholed into doing a very specific type of movie. He was a little bit bolder earlier in his career and was doing these weird movies, literally. But yeah, great. It's just like the butthead older brother, like, again, goofball, but seeing what he did later in his career, it's really interesting to see how he continued to grow as an actor.
Did you watch Aliens?
I did. For the first time, I watched Aliens.
It's great, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
a really good movie.
I love Alien, and I get that it's a completely different type of movie, but I appreciate that at least they went completely into that, let's make it into this sci-fi, ensemble big action movie instead of like what the original Alien is. But yeah, he's great. Everyone in that movie is great, and
he's got an all-time quote: "Game over, man, game over." It's like, and that's kind of an ad lib, I think.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's that's like one of the top quotes of like all time. I feel like.
I think it's like that movie. Believe it or not, I haven't seen Terminator 2 either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know,
dude. It's Terminator 2 is it's an impressive.
Yeah,
I think so.
And I don't know what it is about Cameron that just I've never been like, especially what he's doing now, which is we can get that's a whole nother episode. But I will be checking. There's like a couple like really big action movies that I just skipped me as a kid because I was too busy watching the Three Stooges. So
sure,
I'm getting into them and seeing Aliens for the first time. I don't know why I put it off for so long because it's so much fun.
It's one of those things where you think you're like, I get it. And then you watch it, you're like, whoa, I didn't. I'm like, this is way better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Well, I remember for the longest time, my dad told a story about he remembers going to see it in a packed movie theater, and the scene when they see the aliens, they're coming at them, but they can't see them. There's the doors shut, and they lift up the ceiling, and he was like, people were jumping up and down, like screaming, like it was an event. So yeah, I mean, he's great in it.
It's funny. I was kind of with you when it came to action. It was getting a real bad reputation when we were kids, because it really was. They were just churning them out left and right. There was no real imagination in any of them. It was like, it was getting stock. It was getting boring, and I avoided a lot of them for that reason, because I just, at a certain point, you don't care. You don't care. The spectacle is, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even finish it, but we'll get to Twister when we get to it, but that falls into a category like that to me, of like that disaster-y like type of movie that happened in the late 90s. It felt very like...
I haven't watched it in years. I was really into storm chasing as a kid.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I loved Twister. If it holds up, who knows? I don't know. What is Finger of God.
I didn't finish it, and I was like...
F5.
But it looked like... It was just like exactly what I expected, like that type of 90s like schlock disaster movie. I will say this.
It's fun.
There used to be, in Universal Orlando, there was a Twister... I hesitate to call it a ride, because you just stood there and watched Twister happen. Like, there was a little gas station. It was awesome. It was how they did that. And the queue, as you got into the ride, was like a destroyed house. So they had, like, a car through a wall. It was great.
This was at Dollywood? Where was this?
Yeah, Dollywood.
Oh, was it Universal?
It was her giant breasts came out of the Twister. Yeah, Universal Orlando. I don't know if there was one.
I never went there. Is that worth it?
Oh, it used to be. I mean, it probably still is.
I feel like it has a reputation. It's got like better rides than like Disney. Like Disney's a better theme park.
Yeah,
Disney's
like a more of a family thing. But Universal was always more about like let's live in the movies. So like I think the only like opening attraction still there is the ET ride, which it's cheesy, but I like that they were embracing like film and that type of stuff.
When I went to Disney fucking 20 years ago, it was MGM was one of the parks.
Yeah, well, which existed solely because Universal was happening, and they were like, oh, we need to compete with them. So,
I loved it as a kid. I thought it was great.
Yeah, you'd probably like. I mean, it's mostly Harry Potter shit now, but
it doesn't matter what's there. They can have a Coen Brothers ride. I ain't going to any theme parks, dude. No lines for the ride guy.
Well, you can pay extra money and get the. I think you can.
Oh, whatever.
Or we'll put you in one of those fat people scooters.
What's that YouTube channel?
Defunctland.
Dude, that Kafka-esque fucking fast pass. That video was amazing, by the way. But that alone, I was like, I'm not. It's psychotic to plan a trip that way.
Yeah.
I just don't think that way, though. I try to be a little bit more laid back when it comes to that stuff. But dear God. Ugh.
Well, we really want to do that Galactic Star Cruiser. So if we get how much does it cost to go on that?
$6,000
per person,
I think.
All right, we've talked about like doing like Fear and Loathing on the Galactic Star Cruiser. We'll make a little video of it.
Yeah, donate. And,
there you go. That's where your money will go.
Well, that was the whole idea. Is we would just get totally wasted and kind of get thrown out or thrown in their Star Wars brig.
And those weird aliens start to sing.
Dude, every video I saw from that, I'm like,
it's terrible. It was acting's really bad.
It was just, to me, it's a nightmare to be in that kind of situation. Everyone's got the phones out, like, ooh, just my skin's crawling thinking about it.
So anyway,
skin crawling. Have you seen Near Dark?
Yes, Near Dark is great.
Awesome.
Yeah,
and he's great in that. He plays
and that's
Severin, one of the vampires.
Bigelow.
Catherine Bigelow. Yeah, James Cameron's ex-wife.
Yeah, it's such a like fun take on vampires. It's because we talked about maybe around this time last year the John Carpenter's Vampires, which is the whole different take on it.
Sure.
And there's like the Lost Boys and stuff like that. But this movie, like, I don't know why it's not more talked about today, because it's really a fun take on vampires.
I don't either. For a while, it seemed like it was kind of gaining in popularity, and then I don't know why. It seems like people kind of stopped talking about. I don't know. I'm not in the horror world. I don't know what you creeps talk about.
As far as I know, it's hard to acquire. Shudder had it maybe 2 years ago. Shudder had it for a couple months.
You said it's like a rights thing or something?
Yeah, I think something's wrong with the rights. Who knows?
It's a great movie if you can get it. I definitely recommend that one because I hate vampires. I generally do not like the hard time. You know what it does? It does something that Interview with a Vampire does really well. They have the child vampire.
That's always fun.
It's great because they're always pissy.
I don't like Interview with a Vampire though, but
really,
yeah,
I thought it was good. I was surprised how much I liked it. and then it's like almost like kind of pointlessly like Christian Slater's in it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's just kind of funny. After that, another one I'd like to highlight, a movie you never heard of. I had never really heard of until a while ago. It was like I was in some thread online. It was just like, hey, underrated movies, and someone's like, One False Move.
Yeah.
This was directed by Carl Franklin, who I'd really like to look into him, man. He's done like a lot of like noirish, like modern noirish, like crime films, like Nowhere to Run, Devil in a Blue Dress, At a Time. Those two are Denzel films. Mm-hmm. He just kind of has like I like that.
Yeah, I love it.
Like adult crime movies, kind of. You don't.
Yeah,
I feel like you don't see it much anymore.
As soon as you talked about this movie on our last episode, I watched it right after we recorded. This was like the first one I did in prep for this episode, and it was great. I think I texted you right then and was like, "The stupid woman," because that woman character is so dumb.
So this movie was written by Tom Epperson and Billy Bob Thornton, and Billy Bob's also in it, and he plays. This is exactly what I'd ever do if I wanted to be in something I wrote. He writes himself as the scummiest criminal rat bastard, and it's great. He's excellent. But
did he write A Simple Plan as well, Billy Bob? But that's a different. Yeah, keep talking. I'll look that up.
Okay, all right. I think it starts. Yeah, it starts with like a kind of a drug robbery, and it's this trio of like criminals. It's Billy Bob. Michael Beach, who plays Pluto, and he's like the brains.
Yeah.
He's like the muscle and the brains.
Yeah.
It's a great, great character. And then, what's her name? Cinda Williams plays Fantasia, also Lila. Another double name there. And they kind of rob these drug dealers, and they're on the run. Like, they have this whole plan of what they're going to do with the money and stuff. And they're kind of fleeing to, I think it was Star City, Arkansas?
I think you're right, yeah.
Where Bill Paxton's character is the sheriff, and he's Dale Hurricane Dixon, and he's talking a mile a minute, never stops. But
I love that great scene where he walks in on the two agents talking about what a fucking moron he is.
Yeah,
it's great. I love those scenes in movies when it's like, and he has to like, he's such like a a humble guy that he like lets them know he heard them. Like, hey, like I don't know. It's just like,
but he doesn't make a big deal about it.
No, he doesn't make a big deal about it. And then,
well, what he's referring to, Joe, like that initial crime happens in L.A. So these two L.A. detectives kind of go out to Arkansas, and then they meet up with Hurricane, and blah 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 blah, hijinks ensue.
Can we talk about marketing? Have you seen the poster?
It's great.
It's got a sequence that never takes place in the movie.
Well, no. When Lila shoots the cop in the head.
Yeah, but she doesn't get out of the car like that, does she?
I think on the poster it is staged differently.
Yeah, it looks like she's surrounded. Like three of them are out of the car. It's just like, I get it. Whatever. You got to make a movie.
It's a great scene, though.
Yeah,
it's like one of those great nighttime cop highway scenes where like the tension is like palpable.
Yeah, and I'll put it like I talked about this in our last episode when we were talking about this movie. Like, I love this type of movie.
Love them.
And so if
there's real pulpy.
Yeah. If you know more, drop them in the comments, because I really, really want to see more of these movies.
We should probably check out more of Carl Franklin's
movies. I will
but
definitely.
Yeah, guys, One False Move.
Yeah.
1992.
Great.
Mwah. Very, very good stuff.
Yeah.
Same year, there was a Brooks film production.
Uh-oh. Hold on, everyone.
And I swear to God, I watched this movie not only because it had Bill Paxton in it.
Another silent movie.
Yeah, well, I was like, well, Brooks film, I'll give it a shot. It's called The Vagrant from 1992. It's rough. It's one of those movies where...
we talk about a poster.
Yeah, he looks weird on it, too, the way he's screaming. But it's this guy, this like little office worker, Bill Paxton, plays a character, Graham Kukowski. And he moves into this place, and across the street there's like a vacant lot, and there's a vagrant that lives there. And it's played by Marshall Bell, who's a great character actor. Most of you probably know him as Quado in Total Recall. He's the guy with Quado on his stomach.
Yeah, he's the hitman in Twins. If you ever seen Twins, he's like the villain in that.
He gets nothing to do beyond looking ugly at the camera and going, bleh, bleh. It's like, dude, come on! Like,
this is a horror movie.
It's a horror comedy, and it's like it's too horrific in a way, in the sense that like there's no tension breaker. Like, there's not really any laughs. Like, his situation, I think, it's so awful and outrageous. I think they thought the laughs come from that. Do you know what I mean? Like a very dark comedy, and it just doesn't connect. Like, there's no. I don't know. It's a rough film. I did not care for it. It was directed by Chris Wallace, who won an Oscar for special effects on The Fly.
Wow.
And I don't think he did another film after this. But
Well, it made $5,900 at the box office. So
dude, I mean,
it looks like a V8. Like, it looks like a direct-to-video movie.
Dude,
it doesn't
it's-
even look like an actual film.
it's kind of good, but it's not. Does that make sense? I feel like I
Kind
say
of,
that a
yeah,
lot.
I mean-
like, it's interesting, and I respect them for going all the way with it, but it's miserable. And not in a way where, like, I think they're being, like, satirically funny, and it's just like, this sucks. You're watching a guy's life fall apart. Have you seen True Lies?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while, too. I feel like I want to check that out again. It was kind of good.
I think that's another one that has some fucking rights issues that you can't find, but it's on.
That wouldn't surprise me because, like, why isn't that movie more popular?
Yeah, there is some rights issues with it.
I remember it was on TV constantly when I was a kid. Constantly.
Yeah, I think one of the streaming sites has it though. Currently, Paramount or Stars or some shit. Yeah,
But Bill Paxton's got a line in that. It's a line I use.
I don't even remember him in that, by the way.
He's not a huge character.
What does he play?
He's like a sleazy kind of guy. I think he's pretending to be a secret agent. He's just trying to bang Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh,
or something.
that's him. Okay.
Yeah. But he's in a car or something with Arnold at one point. He's just like, "Yep, she's got an ass like a 10-year-old boy," and I use that all the time.
I'll have to revisit that because I don't remember him being in it, and two, I just haven't seen that movie in a long time, and that's another Cameron movie, right?
Yeah.
I gotta do a little Cameron revisit.
So you told me to watch it. I think we were like talking about this in the past for some reason, but I finally got around to watching A Simple Plan.
Yeah, I just saw this movie last year as well when I forget what happened, but someone was like saying that Sam Raimi he didn't deserve the same praise as the Russo brothers for directing the Avengers. Some bullshit. Some Marvel fan was talking shit, and someone hopped in. There was like either on Reddit or Twitter or something. It was kind of like viral. It was like some dumb critic was like, Sam Raimi's great, but we shouldn't be talking about like him like he's on the level of the Russos. I think that's who directed the Avengers movie. Some shit like that.
Those guys stink.
I know. And someone commented,
This guy
it was just
directed
like
Evil Dead. Like what?
Please, I know that, but someone commented it was like this guy directed an awesome movie that's just about someone finding a briefcase full of money, and that kind of like led me to look at A Simple Plan. And yeah, you had never seen it, right? What'd you think?
I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, it's great.
I would have liked a little more because I love how Bridget Fonda, like initially, she's like, "Well, we gotta call the cops, gotta give the money."
Yeah.
And then like her Lady Macbeth turn is really good. I almost wish it was like a little more.
You need that character though,
It's great. I'll tell you what though, it's like because it's three guys. It's Bill Paxton, Billy Bob.
Billy Bob did not write this, by the way.
Okay, but he's great. In it. He's
Yeah,
very very good
phenomenal.
in it. And that third guy is such a piece of garbage in this movie. I forget his name. He's not
And
a
his
very,
awful wife.
Oh God, they're such. But they
Talk
play,
about a dumb person.
the two of those. It's like, are they actors? Like,
Yeah,
oh,
they're so good.
terrible.
Yeah, this movie's great. It's exactly that type of movie that I just asked for recommendations on. Like, I love this. Like, simple crime that just gets out of proportion. Like, great. Love it.
Just a prison of your own creation ending. Like
It's great.
Well, and the last one I'll touch on. I want to get your thoughts on these guys in general. Not the most successful movie,
Well,
but
Shemp is my favorite, but sorry, go on.
Bill Paxton's so good in this as a Coconut Pete. It's Broken Lizards Club Dread in 2004. They're coming off Super Troopers with this, which is huge. No one saw that movie coming. I remember walking out of a movie in the theater, and you used to walk out. You're going through the hallway, and they have all the upcoming posters.
Poster hall.
And Super Troopers is there, and you remember they're all upside down on it. And I'm like, Super Troopers? What a stupid fucking title. I'm like, this looks awful. And this is fairly early internet, in a sense.
Yeah.
Internet. There was a site called iFilm, which was a great site. It's gone. Totally gone. Everything's gone.
That was a gradual evolution.
But they've put the first 10 minutes out
Okay.
of Super Troopers, and I was like, what the hell? I had nothing to do. I'm like, let me watch it. Let me see how bad this is, because I'm a hater. Obviously,
Yeah,
we all
of
know
course.
this by now. And I was like, this is funny as shit. That opening of that movie is very funny. Remember when they're pulling over the guys?
yeah.
It's really, really good. And I was like, I got to see this movie. Super Troopers is a phenomenal comedy. I always talk about, where are the comedies? That was one of the last good comedies.
Yeah, the first time I saw Super Troopers was probably about like 10 years ago at a party full of fellow restaurant workers. So there were some substances going around, a lot of drinking.
Sure.
And it was perfect introduction to that movie. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
said, the opening, you get it right off, really pulls you in. And I had Movie Pass. I was on a break from work, and I had like nothing to do. So I was like, I could go like sit through 45 minutes of Super Troopers 2, which I did. I've only seen the first half of it because I had to get back to work. Not good.
I heard it's not good.
Yeah, there was one really funny scene, and I don't even remember what it was, just there was like Mounties, and Will Sasso was one of the Mounties, and it was kind of funny, but I don't remember anything else about it.
Yeah, I don't know. If you can find it, their first movie they kind of made it in college. It's called Puddle Cruiser.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's pretty funny. It's a little amateurish because it's literally like, it's almost like Cannibal. You ever
Okay.
seen the Trey Parker?
Yeah.
It's a college film.
Sure, but those are always, it's interesting to see where they came from.
It's worth watching. But then they followed that up with Club Dread, and I think they were trying to do a horror comedy kind of thing. It's just not super successful. It's got its laughs. Like I said, Coconut Pete is hilarious in it. I think he did an album of songs. Because he's like a Jimmy Buffett type guy.
That's
like
hilarious.
he has like a Margaritaville type place.
Yeah.
And that's, it's Coconut Pete's, whatever the fuck. But I think he did a whole album. And I got to listen. I've heard some of the songs. They're in the movie, but he's super good in it.
He really like had a varied, filmography.
Oh,
varied characters that he played.
Yeah, all over the place. And I think that's why I think we're about there. So kind of the roles I wanted to touch on. I don't know if there's anything else you can think of, Mr.
No,
Paxton.
I mean, again, because you've always been, the whole reason you wanted to do this episode was to talk more about Bill Paxton. And, what better showcase of his work than Frailty?
Yeah, because he really, it gives him a lot to do. It trades on that, hey, I'm that nice guy. It's me, Bill Paxton. I got the nice smile, and I'm an amiable fellow. And then, it's that whole thing of when a man loses his mind, what do? There's no coming back.
Yeah.
You don't come back from that. Like, you die.
Can't be like, hey, look, I had a bad couple of dreams.
It don't work.
I fucked up.
It doesn't
I'm sorry, everyone.
No, it's over, man.
Yeah, so even like when the opening credits started for this movie, I had no clue what it was about. I was kind of like, oh, is this like a detective story? Because it's kind of, there's like headlines about like murders and an axe murderer type thing.
Which apparently Bill Paxton worked on that with someone on the crew. He has like, it's from his collection. There's like real clippings and stuff.
Was it Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah,
There's a collection of murderous. But yeah, I was reading into like, basically it's a script by this guy Brent Hanley, and it's making the waves in Hollywood, and Paxton gets a hold of it, and I think it was just because he wanted to get into directing, but he
always he started as a filmmaker in a
yeah,
like
the Bob Saget sense,
not thinking you're going to be in front of the camera,
right? Yeah, and he talks to the producers and is like, hey, I think if I can get a good cast here, I think I could direct this as well, and they let him do it. And there's some concessions he has to make. He really wants to film it in Texas. The studio is just like, no, that's not going to happen. You either film it in California or Canada. So he's like, well, I'm going to go California at least. And then it seems like Matthew McConaughey is kind of doing a favor for him by appearing in it.
Well, this is well before
that, yeah,
like True Detective, where McConaughey kind of came back,
right?
Because he was a joke.
Yeah,
he was like done.
But you could still market a movie around him.
Oh, well, yeah, sure.
In 2001, and I think Bill Paxton is from Texas, born in Texas, so the story really speaks to him because it is
Matt McConaughey,
yeah,
and Powers Booth too,
yeah,
who plays Wesley Doyle, the FBI agent,
and it's. For you to look at a script and go, this is the film I'm going to get into directing a feature film with. It's hell of a project to undertake.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
So anyway, it starts after that opening montage. It starts in the Dallas FBI office, and Wesley Doyle, played by the great Powers Booth, also unfortunately deceased.
He has one of the worst IMDb headshots, by the way. If you go look at
that,
it's
really?
Terrible.
Wait, is that the one where he's just like?
It looks like
his mouth's
it looks
open?
like someone surprised him with a photo.
I saw it. I saw that. But all my my deadheads, my Deadwood compatriots will know him as Cy Tolliver, the best. Anyway, so he gets to his office, and Fenton Meeks is waiting for him, and that's played by Matthew McConaughey. And this guy, Wesley Doyle, he's in charge of the God's Hand killer case. Some serial killer out there, killing people under the name God's Hand. Like, God's telling me to kill him, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, he tells him, I know who the killer is. This guy's like, of course. Like, who the fuck? Like, you walk in off the street, I know who the killer is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure, they all get that a lot, I would imagine, in law enforcement. But he entertains him, whatever. And this is when the story, it's just like the whole framing device for the film is that, you're in the present day with the FBI agent and Fenton
Which
meets.
that was my reaction when I was watching the opening credits. I was like, oh, this is going to be a period film. And then it is for the most part. But when it starts, I'm like, oh, wait, we're in the present day now.
So it jumps back to 1979, small town Texas. I couldn't quite understand. They're in Meat, Texas, like meat. But it's the Thurman Rose Garden, and they're in the town of Thurman. So I got a little confused there. There's a few little holes here in the plot. A few, not a ton.
Not many.
But because that's the other thing too. They said they're like, who is this guy? He's like, I remember when Powers Booth gets there, his character is like, why is there an ambulance out front? And everyone's like, I don't really know.
Oh, yeah.
The ambulance goes nowhere.
Yeah, no, he stole the ambulance because he wanted to steal it. Did he steal? He stole a corpse or something, right?
He had his brother's corpse in it. I thought that was the whole thing. I don't know. The ambulance thing went nowhere. I thought that was going to have some kind of...
Again, now I'm thinking, it didn't even register to me that went nowhere. So it's not that problematic.
When they leave later, they're walking past it. And I'm like, well, why was it even there? Because the whole thing was like, he stole an ambulance from Thurman.
The end reveal is that he is in law enforcement.
Yeah.
So why would he even...
I guess it's an elaborate play. I don't know. That kind of escaped me a little bit. Anywho, you flash back to 79, and you have Fenton and Adam Meeks, the two brothers. Fenton's the older one, Adam's the younger one. Pretty bucolic life.
Mm-hmm.
They're walking home from school. It's established that their mother had died pretty recently, maybe like a year or two before. So it's just them and their dad. And they live behind the Rose Garden and the old groundskeeper house that Dad got a deal on, apparently. And
these kids are not good actors, by the way.
What?
Yeah, I don't. There's nothing I hate more than when two kids are walking home from school and supposed to be having a conversation. It's just never organic.
I could not. These two kids I thought were great in this. I hate kid actors. I thought these two, what they had to what goes on in the story.
Oh, when it calls for dramatic acting, the thing that I think every movie does, there's maybe I don't know, less than a third are the exception, where when it's kids supposed to be behaving like kids that are wrong, when it's kids just fucking talking at the lunch table or walking home from school, when they have to act in a serious situation, that's always good. But it's when you're trying to be just a regular kid.
I understand what you're saying.
There's a little bit of forced. I don't know. I thought the stuff when it's just the two of them before the crazy shit happens, I just didn't think was very good. But when they're conflicted, it's great.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I was watching. I'm like, oh, these kids are pretty good. So they go to bed one night. Have dinner, go to bed, and it's kind of a good scene because it's that classic. The dad just bursts into the room in the middle of the night. Boys, I got to tell you something.
Yeah, well, that's what he phrases it. There's something awful that's happened, or there's some big problem. It's just
the end of the world is coming. It's near. The angel showed me. There are demons among us. The devil has released them for the final battle. It's being fought right now. But nobody knows it except us and others like us.
I'm scared, Dad.
There's nothing to be afraid of, Tiger. We've been chosen by God. He will protect us. He's given us special jobs to do. We don't fear these demons. We destroy them. We pick them up one by one and we pitch them out of this world.
I got something I really got to tell you. It's I just had a dream.
An angel appeared to me in a bowling trophy and told me I have to destroy demons.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, it's in his delivery, the way he just... You believe that this character believes what he's saying, which is...
Well, it's psychotic, too, because he's telling the kids, not only do you have to destroy demons, God's going to give me 3 magic tools. And I love it, the little kid Adam's are they, he's like, oh, the angel's going to show me 3 tools. He's like, are they magic tools? He's like, well, I suppose they are. And then they're referring to them as magic tools.
It's that South Park Mormon Joseph Smith. Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah.
And it's even better later. Well, I'll get to that in a second. And he also says the angel and God will give him a list of demons. It's you're not just going to go out there indiscriminately hunting demons. They'll have names. So then the kids go back to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, is he the one that I might have missed this, but he knows where they live. Is that something that he's finding out on his own? Or?
It's explained.
Okay,
yeah,
I might have missed that.
I'll get to that in a sec. So the kids go back to sleep, and the next day they wake up, and one thing I don't love in movies is narration, but I think it works fairly well here.
Well, it has to be the framing device here because it's a lot of flashback stuff.
Right. So you got the McConaughey character saying, like, we didn't even speak of it. We had breakfast. He drove us to school. And it's great, too, because, like, you get that, like, it lulls you. And like, well, maybe it didn't happen. And then they get out of the car, and as he's walking to school, the dad leans out the window and goes, and don't tell anyone what we talked about last night. And like immediately, like Fenton's like, he drops. And I love the best part is the younger brother never wavers.
Yeah.
So he's just like, okay, Dad, I won't.
He's always on the father's side.
Runs into the school.
Well, and it's like you said, it's like that. Bill Paxton is like, he's chipper in the morning. You know, he's acting like none of this should happen, and to have the opinion that he just had a bad dream and forgot all about it. Bill Paxton sells that. Yeah. You know, because he's real chipper. He's driving the car. Everything's just that quick, like, oh, by the way, don't tell anyone. Like, perfect.
Yeah. And even so, like, we'll take it in the reality of the story here. If God spoke to you and gave you a mission, you wouldn't feel bad. You'd feel amazing. Yeah. God's chosen me. Like, you wouldn't feel like, oh, no, I mean, maybe you would if you're an asshole, but...
I don't know, man. It would have to take a very specific type of vision for me not to just be convinced I'm losing my mind.
Well, that's what I like about the movie so much, that he never even...
Yeah, he doesn't question it.
Never questions it.
And you only see, again, at the end we found out more, but as far as his viewpoint, we only really see that when he's under the car, right?
Well, they show the brief, like the bowling trophy kind of lights up a little. It starts like to shimmer, and he's like, oh. Yeah, so he drops them off at school, and then after that, he gets the vision, another kind of vision of that barn.
Right.
And where he finds the axe and the gloves, his first two magic tools. And it's great. You know, the axe has Otis on it, which is, it's evocative.
Yeah, it gives it its own character.
Never explained. He says he looked at it almost like a family heirloom, where it would be passed down and down. Other people have said, like, they put their own stuff on it, like only the innocent survive.
It really is just like a fucking eerie fucking weapon, though.
Oh,
the axe, like...
Oh, the double-edged axe?
Oh, my God.
But it's great. So he brings those home. He shows the kids, blah, blah, blah. And the best part is when he gets the third magic tool, and he brings it in. It's wrapped up, and they're like, oh, what, Dad? And he puts it on the table. He's like, the angel revealed the last tool to me, and he unwraps it, and it's just a pipe.
Yeah.
And it's like right there, like, I don't know, have you ever dealt with anyone with dementia?
Not in an extent.
They do shit like that.
Yeah.
They start to, like, the trash is all of a sudden, like, almost like Close Encounters. Like, this means something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and I like, again, when he finds the axe, it's framed in a way where there's like a beam of light shining into this barn. When he takes this pipe, there's no special effects into it. It's just a pipe wrapped up in cloth.
And it's like right there, you see in Fenton's face, it's like, oh my God, my fucking dad is absolutely losing his mind here. He thinks this pipe is going to help him destroy demons. So then he's still waiting on the list.
Well, and as Fenton is dealing with the agent, he's also... The agent's starting to reveal some stuff about him. He had a mother who was murdered by a lunatic, so he feels particularly, invested in this character and this case.
Right. Well, in that part of the story, eventually McConaughey's character, Fenton, older Fenton, convinces this FBI agent, I'm telling the truth. I know where the bodies are buried. So they take a ride from Dallas to Thurman, and that's where, he's like,
but still,
finds out the FBI agent's mother was murdered.
Clever transitions to and from.
Oh,
There's that one where like it's rain on the windshield into like the static on the TV.
How good was that?
Yeah, it's great.
That's one of the better transitions I've ever seen. I think
it's like the Don's mustache with the tree in The Godfather. You've never seen that? And Brando's in the bed at one point, and it fades back to, I think it's when he's in Sicily. It's like his mustache transitions perfectly on a tree.
Huh, I never noticed
that.
Yeah,
look that up.
I'll have to check that out again. Anyway, so he's got all his magic tools now. Now he needs the list. And the way the list comes to him, this might be my favorite kind of scene in the movie. So he's at work. He's working on he's a mechanic. He's underneath the car. He's looking up at the undercarriage. And he starts, wrenching something. And then all of a sudden, the undercarriage of the car morphs into like this cathedral almost, as if you were laying on your back looking up at the ceiling of a cathedral. Right. And then this angel, I mean, if you're, we're Catholic or whatever, but it's like very Archangel Gabriel-esque, comes down, unsheaths his sword. He's like floating down to him, and the fucking sword starts flaming. He gets that, vision, like, boof. And there's that excellent smash cut where it just shoots like it's that long view of him. It's just him laying under the car.
Yeah,
and you just hear like
a wide shot of him
of the car shot, like, and he's just laying there. Cuts back to the angel, like, no words, obviously. Very good.
Again, and we're talking about the twist here, which have we outwardly come out and said that it's all true?
God's real.
Yeah, God's real, and he's actually giving him names of criminals and horrible people that need to be murdered.
Yeah.
But up until that point, the movie does such a good job at just convincing everyone, that the audience, that he's a lunatic.
But even that, like, that vision, like, that smash cut to him just laying under the car, it really feeds into that, too, where it's like, this guy is just seeing shit. But
again, I'm going to give credit to him as a director, that the ways that you layer that and make the audience on the side of the other characters, like especially the little boy, like you're like, well, this guy's clearly insane, he's abusive, this is a monster,
right? Even if you're the most religious person, you'd still, if someone said this to you, you'd be like, I don't know if God's really talking to you, like, and that plays against that beautifully. But that gave him the list, like,
Yep.
Like in your brain, he comes to him, he's like, I got the list. So they're going to go for their first person. Where I think the dad doesn't come home, right? Isn't that what happens?
That's what happens. He doesn't come home from work one day.
So he, eventually late at night, they hear Fenton hears the truck pull up, and he's just like, oh, Dad's home. And he's like, oh, I hope, maybe nothing's happened or anything. And he looks out the window, and Dad's carrying someone in a sack to the shed. And it's excellent, too, because I'm glad they did this with the first demon. It's like a pretty blonde woman. And she looks scared, and she's tied up. He's got her on the floor of the shed, like, and it's once again, it's playing on your emotions, where it's like, wait a second, like this woman, like, she's not a demon, like, and this is one thing too, because we were talking about this, how he never questions if God's really talking to him. Dad. It kind of cuts to the scene where he's. Oh, that's what it says too. He's explaining to Fenton how it happened.
Dad. These are people's names.
That's right. And they'll look like people, too. But they're not. The angel said, when I lay my hands on them, I'll reveal them for what they truly are. That's what the gloves are for. I get them and bring them back here with the gloves on. And once they're back here, I take the gloves off and reveal them. You'll see.
And you were asking me how he knows to where to find these people. He's like, I just started driving. He's
so it just leads him.
He's like, I just knew where to go. And he shows up at the house, and it's great. He knocks on the door, and he's like, I forget her name. He's like, Cynthia Barrett. Like, she's coming out as he walks up, so she kind of caught off guard, and she's like, yeah. And there's a moment of hesitation on his face, and it's the only time you really see it in the movie. He kind of hesitates.
No, it's his first one.
And then he hits her with the fucking pipe. So. But then she's back. They got her in the shed.
And like you said, she couldn't look more scared or like...
She's just terrified. And,
I wonder what she did. I wonder what her big crime was.
Well, they kind of show it at the end.
What?
She's like laying in bed next to a guy and his throat's slit.
Oh.
So, I don't know.
She's a murderer?
That's the thing. They're demons. Is it just enough to just murder?
I guess. I mean, that's what makes you a demon, maybe? I don't know.
Because he explains it in the beginning. He's like, the angel told me, he's like, this is the final war. Satan is...
See, there's so much that I have to, like, I'm looking forward to rewatching this because there's so much detail I lost.
It's a great rewatch, man. It's really constructed pretty tightly. But yeah, so he takes the gloves off and he touches her. And like you said, they don't show any vision here. It's just him. He kind of touches her and does the... like seizes up, you know what I mean? And apparently they said they shot that like statically, like just put the camera on a tripod.
Really?
And he said it looked like Plan 9 from outer space. He's like, we had to, because they didn't have the vision. It's just him grabbing her and like, ooh. So they had to, dress up like kind of a handheld camera type thing.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, was the original plan to like show the visions?
I think they were, yeah. And I think James Cameron talked him out of it.
Well, it's a great choice. It
totally.
Sells the concept and everything.
Hide until you like the very last moment if you can. But it's great because Fenton's totally freaked out. He's like, crying like, Dad, don't do this. Don't kill this woman. And, that's why I like the dynamic of the older kid who's a little more, you're starting to, you get that age. They even get to that later when that other sheriff comes in where it's like, the boys hit this age, they start to lose all respect. Meanwhile, the kid, this younger son still worships the dad.
Yeah.
But, so Fenton's really crying. And, he kills her. Like, fuck, takes the axe down and kills her.
Takes old Otis out, and even like having that shot, looking at the kid, close up of his eyes, just witnessing everything happen. Like you're really like, this fucking guy is insane.
Yeah, and the movie's not like super graphic when it comes to the murders or anything, or the killings.
No, again, that's that like the implication, which is more horrifying than the actual, what's actually happening.
Yeah, you don't need the gore necessarily, but then this starts the whole thing of them burying all the bodies in the rose garden, and there's like a special way to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, and see, that's the thing too. Like, it starts to get a little muddied when he's like, then like, oh, you guys have to be the ones to do it too. You need to do this. Like, again, if he just rationally maybe explained to them, like, hey guys, look, this angel came to me. He said we gotta kill these demons. I know this sounds crazy. You just like rationally explained it to the kids. I hate that we never have that moment, but I guess seeing an angel really messes with your perception.
Is there any really? Imagine your dad coming in and rationally trying to do. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy.
There's got to be a way to do it. But see, like, we're gonna get to it when he actually locks the kid up. It's like, what is your motivation here?
I could explain that. We'll get to that, but you got to understand something too. Is I think it's implied that Adam is having visions. Like when he kills the first demon, Adam can tell. He's like, that's a demon.
Sure.
Like when Dad touches the first demon, the lady, and he has his vision. Yeah, Adam sees that.
Right.
Fenton does not see that. Fenton can't see it, and it's explained why later. But then we get to Carl Reiner. The pedophile Carl Reiner in this.
This guy just looks like a pedophile.
He does. I think I said this. I don't know if you heard me. It was what the fuck is his name? Let me see here. I wrote it down. I think it's Vincent Chase. Yeah, it was actually Bill Paxton's acting coach.
Ah, really?
Yeah. So
what a nice little treat for him.
Yeah, throw him a bone there. But so this next one, they get their next demon on the list, and they're going to do it in broad daylight. And
yeah, this is ballsy of them.
Yeah, well, Dad says he's like, no one will see us. He's like, the angel will protect us. God will obscure us from everyone's vision.
Later we kind of see firsthand how that's been happening.
Yeah,
you see that there's
in a sense, but so he just claims that, like, because they're in the parking lot of like a supermarket, and they pull up and they see the guy walking in, and they're waiting for him to come out. It's a good shot too, where they're killing time. They got to just sit there and wait for him.
That is a good long take.
Where he's reading the book.
Yeah, back and forth. So, panning.
Fenton's sitting in the passenger seat, and like the camera turns to look at, because he sees the guy first come out. He's like, oh, maybe if I don't say anything.
Right.
Camera pans over. You see Bill Paxton reading a book. Pans back. You see the guy getting closer. Pans back to Bill Paxton again. Now he's just looking at the guy like, all right, there he is. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, again, every conventional editing technique would tell you, quick, don't draw it out. But the suspense in this is so it makes it so much better, because you're just back and forth. He's not paying attention. Like, the kid's debating even saying anything, like letting the guy just get away.
But he doesn't even get a chance to do anything.
It's just one of those like long take moments, and it's so rewarding.
So then he's like, come on, Fenton. Like, we got to do this. He had like
we
a
need you to
scheme.
be a pawn in this.
And as usual, Adam's like, I want to go too. And it's like, he's like, no. He's like, your time will come. So they go out, and Fenton sits next to the car, and he's like kind of sobbing next to it. And Carl Reiner walks up, and he goes, well, what's wrong, little boy? And he's like, oh, my dog's under there. It's like, well, I can help you. Bends over, boom, pipe.
Well, he just says something along the lines of like, well, let's see what I can do. He just like has a twinge in his eye.
Oh,
of, like,
the spider has a fly in his web.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
then the magical pipe comes out, and bam.
Pipe comes in, boom, we got him in the shed. They kill him.
Yeah.
They do it again, same thing. And, Fenton's still freaking out. So Dad prays to the angel to visit Fenton. And instead, the angel visits Dad and basically tells him, Fenton's a demon. Like, your son's a fucking demon.
Because I kind of like looked at this. There are a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are several like real life instances where people like claim that psychopaths who claimed that like angels were telling them these people were demons, right?
Sure.
I mean, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you got Son of Sam,
of course, yeah,
all that stuff. This thing told me to do something. It's fairly common. So that's another thing too. You're playing off that commonality aspect of it, of like, this happens. Mm-hmm. People do lose their mind and think God is talking to them and telling them to do things. So this is where it comes into the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I think Dad decides, like, I'm going to give Fenton. It's almost like a penitent type thing, where it's a meditation type thing almost. He says, pray. He gives him a shovel and he says, "Start digging right here. I want to hold 10 feet deep, 15 by 15." So, and he's like, "Pray while you're doing it." So Fenton's doing it, and he's like, he's very spiteful. He's ripping his hands up on it, blah blah blah. He's digging the hole. Never prays once. I even like when he finishes, and Dad comes up and he's like, "Damn!" He's like, "You did it." He's like, "That's a great job." He's like, "I bet you didn't even pray once." He's like, "Nope."
There's also that great. It happens a little bit later when the kid's in this pit, and he opens up the trap door of the dad and says, "You believe in God?" And he goes, "There is no God."
The classic "there is no God" line. Yeah. It was very well
it's great.
placed. Yeah.
He had no food, barely any water.
So he digs this giant thing. Dad kind of builds like a cellar on it. Fenton calls it the dungeon. They roll the shed on top of it, so now you got like a new kill room.
They have a little
private kill room.
Don't want to disturb the neighbors.
So they bring their dad.
Did they even need a kill room because the angel shielded them all?
I agree. That's another a little hole there.
They just wanted the kid to dig the hole.
Yeah, which it is a good. Like, because the fact that he, it's
I've never dug a hole. I can't imagine it's very fun.
It sucks, but you rip your hands
Why do you
up.
have to use a pick at a certain point?
What do you mean?
Like, you can't just dig a hole with a shovel? Why do you have to start?
There's rocks, there's roots, there's other soil.
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass.
You haven't dug a hole.
No, why would I need to dig a hole? I haven't had to bury anything.
You're like Aykroyd in Trading Places.
Oh, seriously, yeah.
Like, look at your hands. They're so soft.
I know.
Oh, man. So they eventually get their third demon. And this is where they're about to kind of do it, like, kill him. Mm-hmm. And Fenton runs off. Because he's already debating this. He went to the sheriff's office once and kind of ran away. He got scared. Because he has that other thing, too. He keeps, in the future, Fenton is telling the FBI agent Doyle, he's like, rightfully so, Doyle keeps asking, he's like, "You didn't tell anyone? You didn't do it?" He's like, "It's my dad. I still loved my dad."
And his dad's kind of well respected in the town. He's
a nice guy.
Yeah, lost
he's
his wife and just
he's a good dude. He's a widower. He's taking care of his 2 boys. He works. Gets some. It's all good.
Yeah.
And he still is a nice guy.
Yeah.
It must really fuck with people when you're with someone like that and they're losing it. And it's a kid too, so he's even less well equipped to handle this. He's not an adult that can just leave the situation. There's no escape. There's no escape, George. Anyway, so he runs off finally. He's like, I'm going to the sheriff. Small town sheriff's not there. He runs to the sheriff's house.
Which is directly behind the... That's convenient.
Of course. And the sheriff was actually getting ready to get a jump on those bass, so he's getting ready to leave.
What was he getting ready to do?
Bass fishing.
Oh.
Early start.
I thought this guy was Scott Wilson at first.
It has that look.
Yeah.
It's actually Lucas Skew.
Okay.
And he pops up later. Paxton used him for some... Big Love. Did you ever watch Big Love?
No.
One of the last good HBO shows. I enjoyed it. I was surprised, too, because I thought the premise was really fucking dumb. But all the actors are really good. The writing
There's another HBO show I always want to get into, the Carnival.
I've heard it's great. The only reason I haven't watched it is because it got canceled.
Oh, so you don't want to invest the time in...
But look, Rome got canceled, and Rome's worth watching.
Yeah.
Carnival, I heard, is fantastic. Yeah. Off track there. Where were we? Big Love, right. Okay, so he gets the sheriff, and the sheriff's like, what? Your dad's doing what? But the kid's insistent. Fenton's very insistent.
This is like where the kid is a really good actor, because he's really, convincing.
He sells it pretty well.
Yeah.
So finally, the sheriff's like, all right, let's go check it out. Classic, adult with a kid. He's like, they get to the house. He's like, no, it's around back. Let's go around back. And he's like, yeah, okay. It's like, found your boy. Like, oh yeah. He's like, he's telling me some weird stuff.
Despite he kind of believes the kid. There's maybe
there's little moments.
10% of him is on the side of the kid, and it's just like, well, maybe we should go see this. And
it's like that cop thing where it's like, you never know.
Yeah.
But
I hate the dumb sheriff. This is honestly why I can't watch Misery. It's for that one scene.
I haven't seen Misery in a while.
It's where the sheriff, he opens the basement door and he's like, Mr. Whatever, and then boom, the shotgun blast. It's just, I hate the dumb sheriff who just doesn't, turns his back. Ugh.
Makes me think of Scatman Crothers and Shining.
Oh, that too. It's the same thing.
Hello, anyone here?
Yeah.
And then Nicholson comes out.
It's like, and this, what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is the good thing about this movie. It really does mess with your expectations because it does. So he sits down at the table with them, and he's like, he's with the dad and Fenton, and he's like, you can get in a lot of trouble for saying this, but he doesn't really believe him. And like Fenton's still insisting. He's like, no, let's go out to the shed. I got to show you the shed. The body's in the shed. So finally, the cop's like, let's go to the shed.
Yeah,
like,
let's just shut the kid up.
Like,
Yeah.
fine. So he goes down into the cellar, and Dad was warning the kids too. He's like, you cannot tell anyone. If you do, innocent people will get hurt. Like you cannot tell anyone for that reason. So, basically he gets down there, and I guess because he doesn't find anything.
No, he doesn't really discover anything. It's just
It's
just to have suspicion.
The story's out.
Yeah.
Like no one can know.
Yeah.
That the
even
angel,
though this guy's a moron and probably wouldn't piece it together, just that it's been alluded to somehow. Boom. He gets the pipe.
Because he gets to the top of the stairs. I think he gets the axe, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he has to kill him.
Yeah, and this is when you see Dad properly pissed.
Wow, I mean, he's falling apart.
Yeah, because he's like, I had to murder someone.
Yeah, I've never killed anyone in my life.
They don't count. None of those people count. This is actual murder.
Yeah.
I had to kill someone.
And that's great, too, because like this is where like the kid's progression to kind of like keep pushing back. Because he's saying, I never had to murder anyone before. And he's like, that's a lie. Like, that's a total lie. He's like, those were demons, Fenton. As we're going on, I'm getting a little better at my Paxton.
Yeah, but it's such a great performance because of that. Because now you start to see this guy, like you said, fall apart because he had to, in his mind, kill an actual person.
And this is the whole thing, too, where it's like he doesn't want to believe that his son's a demon. And this is like, that's why he puts him in the cellar. He's like, maybe if I lock you down here, you'll have some kind of mystic, sensory deprivation experience, and you'll meet God, and God will finally speak to you, and you'll understand why we're doing this.
Yeah, well, he does seem to, like, at a certain point, he starts to take enjoyment out of killing these demons. Dad, did you pick up on that?
I didn't. One thing I did notice, like I said, not to cut you off, I haven't got one of those in yet. Man. I had to get one in. The dog was doing it for us today. But, like I said, he's very hesitant with the woman. And then after that, I noticed he's just like, you're a demon.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He kind of almost like just, accepts that what he's doing is the word of the Lord. Like he's not even questioning it anymore. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, overall, we find out later on there was more than what's shown in the movie, right? Way more people were probably killed.
No. Not by Dad.
Not by Dad. That's what I'm saying. No. Yeah. By his,
By, we'll get to that in a sec. So now I like this guy, too. So now he's like, Fenton's down in that cellar in the dark for a long time. He said it felt like weeks when he's telling the Doyle, the FBI agent, the story. And Adam's bringing him water here and there a little bit.
Pouring a fucking glass of water through a little hole into his face.
Yeah.
And that's what we said, that scene. I love it, where I guess after a week, Dad opens up the hatch and goes, do you believe in God yet? And he just, there is no God. And just the look on his face and wham, slam shut.
Shuts the door shut again. Then he kind of has that kind of silly dissociative scene where his head's floating away.
That is weird, yeah.
It's okay. I thought it was a little cheesy, but that's all right. To me, this is it's not a cheesy movie on the face of it, but like I said, it's pulpy in that sense of you're slaying demons.
That's why Stephen King liked it.
Yeah.
Because it's very him.
Surprise there.
But and then like, I love when the little brother is like, Fenton's not moving. And it's like, he's not answering. And you see him so concerned. He rushes down there, cradles his son, and the son just goes, I saw him. I saw God. I believe now.
I know what I have to do.
I know what I have to do, yeah. Great.
Which leads up to. So then they get another demon. And I love this, too, because like they go to the house and like they do the fake, we got a flat. Like, do you have a tire iron? The guy's very suspicious. You can tell the guy's...
This guy is a piece of shit.
Because the woman inside goes, who's at the door? And he's like, mind your fucking business,
dude, like,
bitch.
He snaps at her.
Loses his mind almost.
Yeah, 0 to 60 with this guy.
Oh, yeah. So he's like, for whatever reason, he's like, I got a tire iron. Come out back to the garage. So they go out back there, and Fenton almost screws it up. I feel like inadvertently. He just, like, the guy bends over, and, Dad's about to hit him with the pipe, and Fenton bumps something, and he looks up, and he's like, oh, so there's a whole, kerfuffle.
There's a scuffle, yeah.
Yeah. But they get him, and they get him back to the thing, and it's Fenton's turn now, because Fenton believes now, and he's going to kill him. And he takes the axe, he holds it up, and whack! Like almost Nicholson style, like Scatman, right in Dad's chest.
Yeah,
swings
around.
Right in his heart.
Yeah.
And he goes down.
Very emotional scene.
Yeah. And Adam, the young Adam.
He's horrified.
Dad, no.
Yeah.
Great scene too, because like he kind of gets real close to him, and Dad kind of whispers, You don't know, you can't tell. I think you hear brother in there. I'm not entirely sure. I almost heard take care of your brother, which has a bit of a dual meaning in this story. But so Dad dies right there. Fenton kills him.
I love that Fenton decides to betray Dad when they have arguably the one guy that looks like a repentant asshole. Unrepentant asshole. Yeah.
Total prick.
Yeah.
Like right off the jump.
Yeah.
And that's the one he decides. Yeah, it is funny because it's great too because, Dad's dead. He walks over to pull the duct tape off the guy's mouth. And as he pulls it off, nothing comes out. All you get is, no! Because Adam is running full speed with the fucking Otis axe at him. Dead.
Yeah.
And then after that, I kind of get a little fuzzy here. We jump back to the present, right?
Yeah, so pretty much now that story is... The flashback stuff is wrapped up, and he's leading...
I should say this. I'm sorry. They do bury that piece of garbage and Dad in the rose garden, and Fenton tells Adam, he goes, Fenton, if you ever have to destroy... Or no, I'm sorry, Adam, if you ever have to destroy me, bury me in the rose garden. Mm-hmm. So then we jump back to the present.
Yeah, we jump back to the present where they're at this rose garden, and
Doyle goes, "Whoa, I don't understand. That doesn't make sense."
Yeah.
Which is great to have a character, because if you're
Speak for the audience.
if you're paying attention, right there, you're like, "Wait, what? Like, why would he say that? That doesn't add up."
Right.
And then Doyle says the same thing. He's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I love McConaughey's so dead-eyed in this movie. And like this affect is so flat. He's like, "Well, that's because I'm Adam," or whatever. Like he's like, "I'm not Fenton," like or whatever he says. But,
yeah, well, he does see like there are graves in the rose garden. Doyle does see that, and this is when we find out that he's not actually Fenton.
He's Adam.
He's Adam.
He's the young kid.
He's actually the younger brother, and Fenton, as predicted by Dad, or as told, actually became like a serial killer.
The God's Hand serial killer.
Yeah.
And that's the other weird thing is that the original killings, I don't think were anything. They weren't reported. There was no God's Hand killer until Fenton started just killing people.
Right. Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah, he wasn't doing it in...
No.
Yeah.
He just took up some... because he was a nutty demon, I guess.
Well, yeah, because he didn't have a great childhood. He spent most of it in a hole. There's some psychological damage that probably happened. But that's the thing. And not only that, and this is another great twist, layered twist.
Oh, yeah.
Doyle is the psychopath who murdered his own mother.
So this is where I get a little plot holy. They're demons. But really, they just, like...
I just think that's a choice of word. I don't think it's implying that they're actual satanic beings. I think they're just, like, they're evil.
I mean, the angel says they are.
I know, but...
Okay,
what's an angel?
As a narrative device.
Yeah.
We'll say, okay, all right, because they are evil. But here's my other thing is, like, they show Doyle killing his mother. Like, why?
We really didn't know.
I guess
whatever.
I guess not. That's okay, but
he didn't want that laundry hung. That's why.
That's the most brutal scene in the movie. Almost, he's stabbing her with like a big He
just comes up behind her, and that's the thing too. Like early on in the movie, we plant these seeds because it's the only picture he has on his desk. Doyle is of him and his mother, and Matthew McConaughey, who's now revealed to be Adam, is asking questions about it, and that's where you get this information. So.
That's another good thing too. When he first enters the office, Doyle puts his hand out to shake it, and Adam, as we now know, he doesn't shake it. He just hands him the picture he's holding. Right. And eventually, he does touch him here.
Yeah.
To confirm it almost. That's when you see the demonic
This is where you
vision.
see that Dad was actually seeing these actual visions. They were real. We weren't seeing them as an audience, but they were real. And we see, like Ryan said, there's this horrific scene where this woman's hanging laundry, and he just comes up behind her, blood splatters on the sheets. So,
like you said, you don't necessarily need a motivation there, but so this guy brutally kills his mother, gets away with it, and then becomes a special agent in the FBI. Like, it's a little bit of a stretch for me, personally.
And I wish this movie wrapped up like 3 minutes earlier, because now it kind of like now they just start making more twists. And it's like, all right, it could have.
I agree. It could have been a little zippier.
Yeah.
I do agree, but it is kind of cool because now Doyle is missing. No one knows where the fuck Doyle is, and everyone's like I was freaking out at the FBI office, like he just vanished. And then they're questioning like the junior agent under Doyle. And they're like, he's like, I talked to the guy. I shook his hand. He's like, I cannot remember his face. I don't know what this guy looked like. I can't remember.
But he's on the security tape.
Oh, well, then we'll check the security tapes. Sure enough, everywhere his head is, like there's like that interference almost.
Yeah.
God was obscuring. He was able to pass through that unnoticed.
Right.
Not only that, gets to a point where, well, the agents figure out how did they even
he is able to frame Doyle's killing on his brother.
Oh, because he did say he was Fenton Meeks. At least they had his name.
Yes.
So they went to Fenton Meeks'
Oh, it was
house.
all very strategic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they find his bloodied FBI badge.
But no Fenton. Because Adam had already destroyed Fenton.
Right.
And buried him in the rose garden. Right. So then that junior agent that worked under Doyle goes to find Adam. And turns out Adam is sheriff in a small Texas town. And there's that great slow scene where the young agent walks in and he's like, can I speak with the sheriff? And he's like, oh, sheriff, come on out. And real slow walks out and it's like they're looking at each other. And the agent's looking directly at him, at his face. And he just goes, hi, I'm Agent, whatever. It's like, hi, I'm Sheriff Dubert, Meeks. No recognition.
Smash cut the black.
No recognition
We should have had smash cut the black right there.
Well,
what is this stupid shit with the woman who's like...
Yeah, I know, but at least you get the good last line where he shakes the agent's hand, and he's like, thanks for telling me, because he just came to say, like, hey, your brother's the killer, and we're looking for him. So if you hear anything, let us know.
It's so weird, though,
but
how,
he goes, you're a good man.
Yeah.
Like, he knows a good man.
Even that would have been a great... It's weird how certain endings can almost be affected negatively just by being like an extra couple of 30 seconds to a minute longer.
I'm with you here. After the agent leaves, did you notice McConaughey just kind of stands there?
Yeah.
He just kind of stands there. And what is he doing?
Yeah.
It's not. And then eventually he walks away. But I'm like, I laughed. I'm watching.
It's weird.
What is he doing?
It's awkward. And then the woman comes up to him outside as they watch him drive away, and she's
just
knows
wife.
What's going on, and it's that's for me 10 Cloverfield Lane is almost the perfect movie if they just would have cut to black when she sees the aliens and not done that stupid battle where she fucking
she throw up.
Oh, it's terrible.
It was really dumb.
It just oh fuck, smash cut black. Here it's same thing. It's just we don't need more and more oh no, they got us again. It's just.
Well, there is one more little thing.
What's that?
I don't know if you noticed. Paxton said this as McConaughey is kind of walking back to the sheriff's office. Two kids ride by on scooters.
Mm-hmm.
It's the two kids.
Oh, okay.
So he was like, it's almost like a Twilight Zone-y thing. And it's hard to tell. It's way far away. And I think you only see him from the back. He's like, but we just used the same two kid actors.
That was the best acting they did in the movie.
So all in all, I kind of love this movie. It's got a couple little things here, as usual, pacing issues a little bit, but just the twist, man. I think it's a real bold thing to go in that direction because you run the risk of limiting yourself in the sense of is this a Christian film? Is this a religious film? Kinda, in a sense. I take it more as almost like a fable.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I viewed it. And again, there's so much. Plot that's just kind of that twists and turns, and especially in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information that gets but it's handled in a way that's really compelling. And it, like you said, there's a couple loose ends there, but I think you're so impressed and kind of shocked in it, someone like The Usual Suspects. It's that type of twist where you're so impressed just thinking about all those threads that you kind of overlook maybe if there's some things that don't make sense.
Yeah, and you watch it again, and you just watch it completely differently because now it's a man. Basically,
yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this again.
He's dealing with knowing his son will destroy him, and he must be destroyed. You know what I mean? It takes on a whole different element in that sense. So, big recommend for me on Frailty
for sure. I mean, it's weird. It's not the typical movie we would do on this show.
No, I think that's why I suggested it too. Yeah. We do so many comedies, which is fine.
It's fine, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The dark backward is almost more appropriate. But I'm so glad we got to do this because there is. This movie was not even on my radar in the slightest. I didn't even I probably when you said I confused the movies. I thought we were going to do The Dark Backward, then I thought One False Move is a movie we were going to. There was just a lot of and then when I finally looked up the Frailty, I was like, well, this is interesting. This isn't what I expected we'd be watching, but I'm so glad you suggested it because I
think that's what we're trying to do with this show is a lot of times, because imagine someone out there is just like, you know what, I don't like Bill Paxton. I don't think that person exists. You know what I mean? Like, everyone likes Bill Paxton, and it's like, hey, he did a really good movie here that it seems like no one's really talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
And you people out there, like, I shit on horror nonstop. Hey, when you do it right, it's great. I think it's probably the most effective.
A rare instance where Ryan aligns his views with that of Stephen King.
Funny enough, I've read a fair amount of his books. I don't care for the man personally, but
coming back to this movie, it's very tight. It's only like an hour and a half. It's presented in a way that's really quick. And Bill Paxton even said it was a great script. Like, he lucked out with his first directing because it was a great script.
Yeah.
And but I think give him some credit because he has a lot to deal with this story, this subject matter. There's a lot of, it's not straightforward. There's hidden meaning. So as a first-time director, it's really impressive that he did a project of this, caliber.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to, some of the ones you mentioned I haven't seen, I'm just going to go look into more of his work because it's a compelling movie. He's a great actor, and he was a really good director for this.
Yeah. It all came together for sure.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit more about him with The Dark Backward next on our Patreon show at patreon.com/almostcultclassics. And then we will be back with our regular episodes for big episode 25. We're doing our most requested movie, which is Stay Tuned, which another one I'm kind of going in blind. Like, I know a little bit about it.
I haven't seen it.
I've never seen it.
I was a child.
And I think we're going to keep that episode pretty much like a throwback to our early episodes where just that.
Yeah, I'll watch a lot of Ritter stuff just to get a,
Yeah, and he's
I don't think that director did too much else either.
Yeah, we'll look into
tuned,
it.
But, yeah.
But look, I think it's a very self-contained episode. There's just, we're really going to dive into Stay Tuned and why so many people seem to love that movie, especially for me who's never seen it. I look forward to.
And we'll talk about it for Patreon. I was going to suggest, I think it'd probably be a good complimentary thing is Mom and Dad Save the World.
Oh, that could be.
We get that request a lot. And then after those two episodes, I never, ever want to do anything remotely family-oriented ever again.
We haven't done something in a long time.
It's true. It's just fun.
To be fair.
We're mixing it up a little.
Yeah, we're doing different things.
All
but
right.
we really appreciate those of you who support us on Patreon. Your support really goes a long way for us. To those of you who don't support us, maybe you'll consider supporting us for next time.
What, are you going to live your whole life like a cheap bastard? It's $5.
I mean,
Come on.
hey, we got to go on that Galactic Star Cruiser.
There's a lot of back episodes we're getting now.
They're there.
If you're new to the show and you like it, I go to the doctor and get checked out. But there's a ton of stuff you haven't heard on there, so have at it. Have at you.
Go check it out. But thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.